Hi guys! So in this video I want to show you how to shade the different features of the human face. We're still working in portrait view. So let's look at the different features. I'm going to show you how to shade the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the two ears and the hair. And then I'm just going to quickly, the rest is pretty easy. So then I'll quickly show you how to shade the rest. Okay, now that all the grid lines are erased, you want to lighten all these lines so that they don't interfere with your shading. We do that with most drawings we do, not only with faces. And the reason for this is that your shading might be lighter in some places. There may be disappearing edges in some places, or very light values or highlights, and you don't want these lines to interfere with those. So let's quickly lighten all these lines. Alright, let's start with the two eyes. Now when you shade eyes, there are things that you need to keep in mind. Remember that the eye is basically a ball sitting inside the eye socket with some skin and flesh over the hole, right? Now what happens with the ball? There are shadows on the sides, right? And a highlight at its highest point. So very subtle shadows around the corners of the eye. Like that, to define the round ball shape of the eyeball. Now, we get to do with the flesh going over the eyeball. The upper eyelid casts a very slight shadow inside the eye. So there will be a slight shadow just underneath the upper eyelid. Like that. Now you must remember the next thing about the lower eyelid is that you can actually see the thickness of the skin here, right? So we're just gonna add a little bit of definition there. And let's add a little bit more definition here by the inner corner. Like that. Outer corner. You will notice that I tend to start with very, very light values and rather layer, go over it, over and over until it's the right value that I need. Okay, the highlight will obviously be there now. What I can see, I've created a little bit of a line here that shouldn't be there. Don't be afraid to use your eraser to lighten where you've gone too dark. Okay, something else that I've just noticed here is because our eyes are turned to the inside towards each other, there's a little bit of a very subtle shadow. Yeah, oopsie. Next thing, when she would have looked straight forward, there would have been a highlight cutting across the pupil and the iris. But because she's looking inwards towards her nose with both eyes, there's only a tiny little highlight in this eye here. So while I'm at this eye, let's do the shading here too. Let's do the pupils first. Of course, here you don't have to worry too much unless there's highlights in the pupils. You can go as dark as you need to. And on this eye, now with the irises. The trick with the irises are to, because that contains the color of the eye, right? And irises also tend to have these little radiating lines in them. So you may want to create those first. And then most people's eyes have a darker ring around the outside of the iris. You will notice that I use little squiggly motions when I do this. This is because only the outer edge is actually a solid line. The rest is kind of radiating inwards towards the pupil of the eye. And then it will become lighter and lighter. This is especially true for people with light colored eyes. People with darker brown eyes, you don't see this so much. It's probably still there, but we just don't see it so much. Now, part of the eye is this fold above it, as well as the area underneath the eyebrow. And actually the eyebrow as well is part of the entire eye area, as well as little folds and shadows underneath. Let me just erase all of these little marks that I've made here. Okay. So let's start with the fold above the eye. Ignore the lashes for now. We're gonna add that later because that goes on top of everything else. So the fold above the eye is a very distinct individual facial feature. Not only the shape of it, but also the shading of it. So look very carefully at the values of the shading above the eye compared to what's inside the eye, where there's darker values and where there's lighter values. Now let's look at the lower eyelid. Normally there is a pretty distinct highlight right there where it's still moist, and then there's a shadow from the inner corner that goes underneath. Now let's get to the lashes. On the upper eyelid, it looks like the lashes are growing from inside the eye out. On the lower eyelid, that doesn't happen. The lashes grow from on the eyelid, not the inside of the eye, on the eyelid. So be very careful. Now when you draw lashes, lashes are like hair. It doesn't grow individually. It grows in little clumps of hair. So we're going to take, and also the direction of the lashes changes. Some lashes are longer and some are shorter. So let's start here by the inner corner. There's one lash, and you make these little flicking motion with your pencil when you do the lashes. And while I'm with the lashes, I also want to darken this part here. So that's it for this video. I know at the beginning of the video I said that I'd show you in this video how to shade the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the ears and the hair. The problem was that video was going to be a bit too long, so I had to chop it off after the eyes. So I'll see you guys in the next one with more shading. Hope you guys had a good time. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you next time. Bye.